Hi, I'm Amy Hagerman with Oklahoma State Extension. I bet you spend a lot of time on the road this time of year with your family, maybe going on vacation or going to 4-H events. Maybe you're just going to the lake or working on your farm or ranch. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself what you can do if something unexpected happens? Maybe your vehicle breaks down or severe weather happens on the road. Maybe somebody has a minor injury. The best time to prepare is before the unexpected happens. Today we're going to talk to 3 educators about what you can do to get ready before hitting the road.
My name's Tommy Puffinbarger. I'm the Extension Educator in Alfalfa County, Oklahoma. And I want to talk to you about basic first aid today. And first aid while you're on the road can be as simple as a blister while you're walking or a small cut while you're fishing at the lake. However, it can also be something a little worse, as maybe a twisted ankle or a broken finger while you're working on the farm or at a recreational activity. So you can buy first aid kits for your vehicle from the American Red Cross, or you can get them from our pharmacy, or you can make a first aid kit. So a lot of us have everything we need for that first aid kit right in our own home. The first thing we really need to think about is a container. If we want to build it, what kind of a container do we need? Something that we prefer would be watertight, something that has a lid that can close, and we want to make sure that we mark that first aid. That way if someone needs to get in our vehicle to find it, they already know which box they're looking for. What do we put in that first aid kit? Well, we need a box of Band-Aids of various sizes, shapes. An assortment would be a great idea. We need some gauze rolls of different widths or lengths. Gauze pads, sterile gauze pads of different sizes and shapes will be good to have in your basic first aid kit. We need some waterproof adhesive tape to help keep things on. Some type of fiber bandage, or we call vet wrap, will help hold things in place. We'd like to see everybody have at least 2 pair of nitrile gloves, preferably in a package that's sterile. Alcohol prep pads, clean up things before we treat them. Some type of antiseptic towelettes will be good to have in your first aid kit. A pair of tweezers and a small pair of scissors, very beneficial. And a cool pack or 2 is always good to have in your pack, your first aid kit. Now if we're outside, whether we're doing that sporting event, fishing or whatever, we're outside, we might want to think about sunscreen. We need to think about your SPF that you need. Everybody has a different liking to what they like. So sunscreen is very valuable. We need some antibiotic ointment of some type, just in case we get that burn or something. We need some type of burn spray or a burn cream. We also, in case we would get bitten by something, we might need a sting and bite pad or some type of anti-itch cream. And of course, we need our hand sanitizer. One thing I want to caution you about is if you're using hand sanitizer and you're cooking with an open fire, whether you're camping or whatever, or you're roasting s'mores, be careful that you don't catch your hands on fire with having hand sanitizer. Now, the other thing we want to think about putting in our first aid kit is any of our pain medications that we think we might need, like a Tylenol or a Motrin. If we get motion sickness, maybe we need some Dramamine in there. And then if we have allergies, our over-the-counter allergy medicines can be in there also. The other thing we want to make sure we do with our first aid kit yearly is go through that kit, make sure that our expiration dates are okay, nothing's out of date. The next big thing that we want to put in our first aid kit is an emergency first aid guide. Now, the emergency first aid guide is something that we recommend that everybody read through and be familiar with it before you need it, because if you wait until you need it, sometimes those events are stressful and we get nervous. So Most communities offer a CPR class or basic first aid, and someone in your group would be very beneficial to go through that class. That's going to be with you on your trip or your outing. Next thing you need to make sure of is wherever you're going, make sure you know what the emergency services number is. If it's other than 911, we need to put those emergency numbers in the front of our book. On the outside cover, we need to put those in our phone. We need to make sure where they're at and everybody knows what they are. And then let's make sure we put this in our first aid kit. And then, like I said, we're going to put that in our box. We're going to close it. And we have made our own basic first aid kit. Commercial first aid kits come in all shapes and sizes, but the biggest thing that we need to remember is what fits our family or our group, the size of people, the number of people that we're taking with us. Now, the big important thing we're going to take home from this, if you're hurt, if you're severely hurt or injured, call 911 immediately. Do not wait. Do not wait. Call 911. We would rather have a false alarm than to have something bad happen on down the road. So, now that you know what goes into a basic first aid class, let's talk about your vehicle.
Hi, my name is Gus Holland. I'm an Ag and 4-H educator in Tulsa County. I want to talk to you today a little bit about preparing your vehicle for a road trip. So, we all know that we pack and get ready to go on trips, so we've prepared our clothes and stuff. So have you guys thought about preparing your vehicles? So the first thing I want to visit with you guys about is the things that you're going to want to keep on your person. So I carry a backpack that has a few clothes in it, so that's going to be especially important if you're going to have an overnight trip. You always want to keep a flashlight with you. You also want to double check before your trip that you make sure that the batteries are good and maybe carry an extra set, okay? A few other things that you're going to want to keep with you are your first aid kit. It's a good idea to have 1 bottle of water per person in the vehicle. You're also going to want to keep some granola bars or some crackers in the vehicle. Emergencies can happen at any time, whether it's a weather-related event or whether you have a vehicle breakdown. So, some other things that I want to visit with you about are keeping your vehicle prepared and things that you need to bring and keep in your vehicle. So, if you have a tire that goes down but you can still air it up, it's good to keep an air compressor in the vehicle. If you have a tire that's gone flat and you absolutely have to change it, then you need to make sure that you have a jack available. So this is one that comes with the vehicle. There are also other forms in a bottle jack, or you have some floor jacks that are good options. You also need to make sure that you have a lug wrench that fits the lugs on your vehicle. So here we have a 4-way, which should fit most vehicles, but you need to double check to make sure that it'll fit those vehicles. Your vehicle should also come with a lug wrench or breakover bar standard with your vehicle. Jumper cables are very important to have with you as well in the case that you have a battery that goes dead or you can't get your vehicle started. These are good tools to keep in your toolbox. A toolkit is another important piece of equipment to have in your toolbox or in your vehicle. In case you have a vehicle breakdown, you have some wrenches or some pliers to help mend some brakes and stuff that you may or may not have. A few other good things to keep would be duct tape, cable ties, or some baling twine or wire. These can help get your vehicle repaired enough to get it off the road or home until you can get it fixed properly. So, you guys may have some vehicles that may burn a little bit of oil. It would be important to have a quart of oil in your vehicle as well. I would also recommend for vehicles that use water or antifreeze, especially on these hot days that you might have, that you keep a jug of antifreeze in your vehicle. Alright, so the next important thing is whenever you do have these disasters or your vehicle breakdown, you want to make sure that you're getting your vehicle off the road. So the best thing you can do is get off at the next exit, or if you're in town somewhere, get off onto a safe road. gas station, whatever you can get to. But if you're on the interstate and don't have that option, just make sure that you're getting off of the curb far enough that you're not going to be impeding traffic, but you're far enough off that you can safely work on your vehicle. So if you have it's important to have orange cones or reflectors that you can set out behind your vehicle to show that, hey, there's a vehicle up here and pay attention. It would be also important if you have some high visibility gear, that if you're out working on your vehicle, that you put these on so that people can see you. Some other reflective things that might work if you need to use them. We also have a tarp here that's not necessarily as important to keep in the vehicle, but it helps if you're needing to get on the ground to work on your vehicle, or if you need to cover something. These are helpful to have as well. Last thing I want to show you that I normally keep in a vehicle, especially during the winter months, are a blanket and or a jacket. So you want to make sure that you're able to stay warm if you get into a situation to where you're broke down on the side of the road, or you run into a weather event that you need to stay warm with. So now that we're talking about storms or natural events and unexpected weather, those can pop up at any time. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Marty, and he's going to give you some helpful tips to be prepared for unexpected weather.
Thank you, Gus. I'm Marty Montague from the OSU Extension Office in Choctaw and Pushmataha counties in southeast Oklahoma. I'd like to visit with you just a couple of minutes about being a little more weather aware when you're traveling. My friends have talked a little bit about how to prepare your vehicle, how to be prepared, how to be ready for emergencies that might come up on the road. What I want to talk to you and visit with you about is being aware of the weather, both where you're leaving from, where you're going to, but especially while you're on the road. You know, there's a number of apps. In fact, I have one that will follow the weather wherever I go, and that's important to give me a heads up whether the weather turns bad, whether that be icy conditions in the wintertime, or whether that be severe thunderstorms and tornadoes in the spring and summer months. So be aware of that. Find those apps, check out your route, and be aware of that. Whenever you are traveling, if you run into a situation that has bad weather, be thinking about where you can find shelter. Be aware of what you've just passed, maybe the towns that you just come through, and find a place of shelter and wait the storm out. If it requires you to do so, turn around and go back to the last town that you did come through and wait the storm out there. One more thing, when you get to your final destination, whether it be your hotel or your cabin, look for the storm shelter. If it's not clearly marked, ask the clerk when you check in. Also, if you are traveling during severe thunderstorms and that sort of thing, let's don't drive through water that's covered the roadway. Number one, we don't know for sure how deep the water is. We can't see through it. And number two, we're not sure the roadway is even there. It may have already washed out. So we don't want to drive through water that we can't see through. And also, we never drive across down power lines. If there are power lines down, assume that they are hot, and let's don't do that. There's a number of other things to be a little bit more aware of, and you can find that stuff with the American Red Cross. You can also find another list of that stuff with your OSU Extension offices and their disaster management website. Be in touch with us and let us help you become more weather aware.